The nightmare of waiting around at reception was over, and now the dream of basic training actually finally started to begin. Hello, my name is Brandon Wheeler, and thank you for joining me on my channel. I have a straw in my mouth because I had like heat stroke while I was in the army stuff as a short story, taking that long story short. That's why I got straw in my mouth, talk why that I bite that on something. So that's why this, just use a speech aid and everything. I am a veteran. I was former in the Army for about 3.5 years, from September 2020 to February 2024. I'm here finally talking about my experiences that I went through in the military and everything. And as a disclaimer and everything, all that I'm saying is not representative of the Department of Defense, Department of the Army, or anything military or anything. All my comments are my own, because also as well, my experience in the Army, it can be completely different than what you're going to be going through, because I went during the height of COVID, and your base, your unit, everything's going to be different. So don't take everything that I say is going to be, this is the blanket, all this is how it's going to be. It's not, because it's going to be completely different, especially during the time of COVID. See this box I have here in the back? And all these kind of different letters. These are all different letters that I wrote all throughout the time when I was at basic. Because why did I write a whole bunch of letters at basic? Why didn't I just use my phone? Well, glad you mentioned that. So once we arrive at basic and everything, of course, I'm holding this giant duffel bag and everything like that, and they're rushing us towards this area and everything. And of course, they're not exactly screaming at us, but they're telling us like to move. So I get there and everything, set the bags down, and we're able to, at this point, because during the reception we had our phone call, we had our phones and everything, but we're able to make one call. I don't remember if it was at this point or if it happened later or anything, but we get to make one call to home. And that call was to let them know, like, hey, this is where I'm at and everything. I'm going to be sending you letters, blah, blah, blah. Just, you get to make one call home, let them know, hey, da-da-da. George trying to get signal in that little area at Fort Jackson and everything. That's where I went when I was in South Carolina. It's kind of difficult, but once I made my call, we gave the drill sergeants our phones and everything, and they put them all in a box, arranged by platoon and everything like that. Now, according to the letter, because I was trying to make sure which one I was assigned to at first, because I couldn't remember for the longest time. I was like, wait, which one was I attached to and everything? All right, according to the letters and everything that I've assigned, this is the kind of stationery that I had and everything. It was Alpha Company, and at first I was part of 2nd Platoon, 2nd Battalion, 12th Infantry Regiment, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. So I was part of the Alpha 2nd Platoon at first, the 212, or 213. No, it's part of 213. I don't know why I put 12th Infantry Regiment on first. I think that was a mistake. This is one of the first letters I had. Oh no, that one's later. Let me check. It says 212 or 213? 213. I don't know why I put 212 on that one, but that was a mistake. 213. So if you're part of the 213 during that time in September to November of 2020 at Jackson, hi. I was there with you. So, yeah, I was PFC. Reason why I went in as a PFC as opposed to, well, of course, everyone's rank is the same during that time. You're a fuzzy, but why was my rank a PFC as opposed to a regular private? And that's because years prior, during my high school days and everything, I had JRTC, and I had some time in JRTC and everything. So because of the semesters and everything, they were able to kind of put it forward in the paper phase during the stuff that I could become a PFC. So yes, your time, if you did any JRTC and stuff, can pass over, and they can, depending, get you a higher rank going in, and that can be a little bit more money. Now, you don't necessarily start off as a specialist unless of like two conditions. One, you have like a bunch of college beforehand and you're going in, you can start as a specialist, especially if, like in certain cases that there was, you have a lot of people who are going to go to like military training schools for like becoming officers. They started off as like specialists. They were there with us, and they were afforded a little bit more special privileges. Like they could have their phone at night during the weekdays, because you only get it on Sundays during a certain part, and they only had it for an hour. They could have it at night during the thing. They had their own little separate room. Or if they were, the only other way they get a specialist thing is if they were prior military. So, because you can have different guys coming from different branches, like some can go to the Marines, some can go this. So there was one guy, his name was Bond. He was a former Marine, he was on deployments and everything. He had as much time as some of the drill sergeants and everything, but for some reason he switched to the army, so he was never part of my platoon stuff, but I saw him and everything. We had two people in my group that I saw that I more interacted with, at least in the beginning. We had a guy who was Air Force who switched over because there was some controversy and stuff. He said that like that, and there was a girl who was also a former Marine. So there was that type of thing that they start off as specialist. Plus, if you're growing officer and everything, you get stuff as well. Now, I did mention about a girl right there, but in this initial phase of what we started at basic, and I imagine it'd be the same way. The females, the women, however you want to say it, because they normally, when in the military, during that time, they say the females. They don't say the women, they don't say the girls, they say the females, barracks, the female this, the female that. I don't know why they pronounce it that way, they just do. But the females were, even though they came over with us from reception and everything like that, like before, like we had our own uh, setting for, our men had their own rooms and everything. The ladies also had their own barrack area. We're all associated together, and at this time, they had their own platoon. They were in 4th Platoon. 4th Platoon was specifically the female platoon at the time. All us guys were separated into 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Platoon. And I think all the other companies were arranged that way as well. Now, here's the thing. You could become a strong trainee, or you become a smart trainee. And as it seemed to us in the beginning, being a smart trainee is you just do what you're being told. That's essentially it. But seemingly, the females, they decided to be strong trainees, as one would put it. I remember one time later on, I don't know if I detailed that in a letter. Maybe if I find it, I'll tell it when again. But here's the thing. If you're a female going in, I mentioned it before, like some of the bag stuff we have are going to be heavy and all the gear we're taking. So you're going to have it heavier and stuff. And, sometimes how physically hard it is for guys to do things, for girls especially, it's going to be kind of hard with some stuff. But they got smoked so often. Smoked means you're getting, you're going to be put through a bunch of ringers of like PT stuff and everything like that. It's during that early phases and everything, when the girls were their own separate platoon, they were getting smoked so often. But we saw sometimes the female drill sergeants, because here's the thing, guys. If guys talk back to a drill sergeant and everything, yeah, because again, what you do as a prerequisite for anyone joining, if you say something or do something that normally gets you screwed over, oh no, it doesn't just screw over you, it screws over everybody. There's no individual punishment, it's collective. So that's why you don't necessarily want to screw over everybody and stuff. And of course there's issues and everything, but for the females, there's seemingly stuff all the time where a lot of girls would talk back to the drill sergeants, and especially the female drill sergeants. And let it be known, the female drill sergeants are scarier than the guys. Yeah, they're scary. You don't want to mess with the female drill sergeants. You had, the ones that are shorter than the guys and everything, but it's like, yeah, I don't want to mess with them for some reason. That intimidation factor is like, yeah, don't want to mess with them. Not really. So, but yeah, we saw the girls get smoked a lot because they would talk back and lip each other, or if they're not lipping each other, they would sometimes lip the drill sergeants, and us guys would just watch and be like, yeah, we don't want to do that. Especially this one time at night, seeing that happen, and everyone's just sitting there just watching, and just like, yeah, no one said a word, but we're just all watching and kind of looking at each other like, don't want that. It was bad. It was bad. Now, where we were at in Fort Jackson, this area here, in Alpha Company, it was like a building all the way to the front of this thing where the hill was. There was this big hill that went all the way like up towards the back. Of course, there was ant piles, a couple of things, but shade-wise, it gets hot in South Carolina. So the shade, the sun, where the shadows and everything was during the day, the shadow would be there, it'd be fine, but because of the sun, rotation and stuff, that shade would be all the way towards the building, so you wouldn't have any other place to be in the shade unless you were underneath the little canopy that was up there. So that part sucked. Of course, we have our canteen packs and everything like that, our bags. You have to drink water and make sure your water is filled all the time. Make sure it's filled all the time. If they say refill it, refill it. Trust me. And don't just fill up a little bit. Fill it up all the way. You will need the water because they will check it. Trust me. All right. So, actually getting into stuff now. Our first night, I think the day was it, and we mostly were kind of just doing paperwork and everything. I kind of remember some things going through the letters here, but it was mostly just like nothing else. You get into these, we were shown these halls, It's like you have this big building, but on the sides and the second and third floor, whereas the barracks areas. And it's just kind of like a bunch of bunk beds. I had a lower berth, fortunately, the entire time of basic, which was nice. And you have these lockers. Again, when I say you want to make sure you have your lock. Now, the lockers have to be organized. Make sure your lockers are organized and make sure they're locked. That is going to be a very key point for you for all of you who wanted to join. Trust me, make sure your locker's locked. And don't just excuse it like, oh, I will unlock and just because I'm going to come back right later. No, don't leave your lockers unlocked at any time because the barracks monster might come by. What is the barracks monster, you may ask? Oh, that's... you will see, or the bay monster, as maybe someone else calls it, but you will see. You will see. It gets interesting. Let's just say that if you leave your locker unlocked, your items that you have in there may be scattered abroad all over the room, tied up with everybody else's, because the bay monster got hold of it. If you don't know what I'm saying, the drill sergeants are going to mess up with your lockers, okay? They will mess your crap up if you don't have your lockers a certain way. Or if you don't have them locked, because they will check and they will screw up everything. Oh, you're off during breakfast and you hear noises in your room? Oh yeah, someone didn't leave their locker open or locked or whatever like that. Oh, your bed's not made right to the right standard because they're going to show you how to make your bed and how to make sure the corners are folded in and stuff like that. Oh, your bed's going to get tossed around and everything else along with all your stuff because, oh yeah, it wasn't right. So when I say lock your stuff, lock it. Even if your bed's messed up, most they could do is like tip over your locker and stuff instead, because that comes into play later on. Trust me, I was one of the few that his stuff was not ever really messed with because I locked my stuff. So yes, my stuff was, to give a little hint, was hardly ever messed with because my stuff was all locked. Now you do have to put your shoes, your boots, like the ones you're not wearing because they give you boots during reception that, like I said, are not the best. When you have a chance to get boots, like to buy your own boots, buy them. Please, buy them. The basic boots sucked. But you have to put a pair like on top of the locker and everything to show you and tell you what you're supposed to do. And you keep them up there. And you have to put them a certain way. And you try to change them out every other time because one's like a spring boot, winter boot. But you want to kind of alternate them every day so you can break them in and stuff. It doesn't matter. They're always going to be uncomfortable. This is why, again, moleskin and all that stuff is going to be important. Now, we get there, and I do remember reading off the top of this that it was cold. Seemingly there was a cold snap happening in that time of basic, and it sucked because that first morning we get out there, we have to wear our PTs, which is the black tops that say Army and yellow and the shorts. So we're out there, short shorts and short sleeve shirts out there in the morning because that's the uniform they put out. And it's cold. It is actually legitimately cold. And we're all kind of freezing. Our drill sergeant's like, I've been in Fort Drum, which is like in New York. It's a lot colder than that than here. And it's like, yeah, but we're freezing. I don't know how cold it was, 40s or something, but it was pretty cold in September that time. Don't worry, it gets colder. Now, the drill sergeants that I had at first, part of the 2nd Platoon, was Drill Sergeant Donahue, Freelick, I can never pronounce his name correctly, and Daria. Drill Sergeant Daria? I think it was like Daria or something. I might list it in one of these things, hopefully. But Donahue actually looked like one of the sergeants that I, not want to say, he looks like a friend that I have, honestly. And Freelick is like one of the tallest guys there, very skinny guy and everything. And Daria, she was a very short Spanish lady. But yeah, again, you don't want to necessarily mess with them. Now, this is part of what I had for 2nd Platoon at first. Of course, some of the drill sergeants get switched out or they move to different platoons or anything like that. Stuff happens. Like there was a drill sergeant for another platoon for the longest while. I saw him briefly, but then he went away because I guess he had like shoulder surgery or something that happened. So he was out for a while and then he came back like towards the very end or something. But you get kind of set in stuff, you kind of learn these different things. And again, we're wearing masks during that time because COVID, and we have to wear like black masks and stuff. I actually have something in here in this box that I didn't realize. One of the masks I chose was this like face guard thing that I had. Of course, I was a Ruby fan, so I had something like this. So it was kind of like this that I was doing during that time. But again, that wasn't allowed. You can only have black masks, so that's what we all wore. Ruby actually, ironically, if you don't know what this show is, it's a show with a lot of potential that... Anyway. It actually comes to play in somewhat in my Army career. You're like, how does a TV animated show from YouTube stuff actually play into the Army? Surprisingly, it does. But I'll get into that. So, basically, the first few days, it was more paperwork and everything, and you're learning different rules and stuff. But I think at this point, because I'm trying to remember and I can't remember everything, I'm just going to read you some of my letters that I sent to my mom. And I know I sent more I was writing so many letters and stuff and journaling during that time, because when you don't have access to your phone, you don't have access to pretty much anything else. So what else can I do? Well, I can focus. I wrote tons of letters. That's why I invested in paper, envelopes, and stamps. That was really important to me. So enjoy these letters that I'm going to read to you. This is directly from Bootcamp. From what it is, I don't know if this is the first letter I ever sent, but it seems like it. But you're going to get first-hand account directly from Bootcamp and how it is. So here we go. It's to my mom. This is seemingly from September 18th to 19th, somewhere in there. From the date, because I kind of one of the dates crossed out. So at least to the 19th. Sorry I can't talk by phone. They took them away, so I'll try to mail as often as possible. It's gotten really cold, so it's things being outside all day. That's what that first morning was. When we first arrived Friday, it was mostly paperwork. Saturday, today, we did our first exercises. That was that first morning and everything. Some were funner than others, but most of the day was paperwork and different briefings. Now, the exercise that I'm talking about, you're going to be doing these exercises called PT stuff. There's stretches and everything, different stuff. Just look up, if you're actually interested in the military and everything like that, look up the PT exercises you would do and everything in basic, because you're going to be doing them later on in your Army career, as stretching and everything like that. So there's like hip stability stretches, side stretches, stuff. The side bridge, where you're kind of going, where you're laying on your side and you have to lift up and everything, I could never do that. Because my arms were like, just would not cooperate or anything. You'd also do like hanging drills with like pull-up stuff, but you're going to be doing the main basic stretch stuff like, I can't even remember all of them anymore, but if you look them up and everything, if you're interested, because this is something, a little homework for you for all those who want to join the military, you more likely still going to be doing that, and especially since they're changing it up to make it harder now, be more focused, you probably want to look those up at what you're going to have to do. Practice now, that way you don't have to worry about it later. Okay. One such today, the command sergeant major and battalion commander talked to us about expectations, sexual harassment, but also suicide. This is something that's been common throughout everything, especially right this moment. Reason being, a 29-year-old killed himself this week, and they just came from the funeral. He had a young kid and mother on the way. It was out of nowhere, they said. He didn't act like he had any issues, so pray for his wife. That is something that happens, unfortunately, where people do things all the time, and it's not, there's like no signs or anything like that. Some guys act a certain way, and you don't know if you take it serious or not, because some guys are just trying to act like they want to get out of the Army, and they'll do everything we had. We had one guy who was deciding to get out, and he didn't want to train. And just like, I wish there was a way to get people out early, because, look, I understand, it's like, you know what, if this doesn't feel like you want to be here, I can respect it. Just, there's a way to get you out, just get out early. That's fine. For people who actually is like, you know what, I want to try to give another shot and give it back in, cool, do that. But for those who actually want to get out early, I think there should be a way to get them out early, because sitting around, sometimes they, depending on the person, I've heard some stories, they just, well, I know one person, that I met at AAT, but they just cause problems, and it's not good. So, Army, please work on a way to get people out. That'd be good. So, I need to do better at push-ups. That is something that I can work on still today, because I suck at them. And 10 young guys around me, so prayer somehow they can all get saved. I've had a few conversations, not a lot of talk here. Just was that reception we did. He has me for a purpose, so I hope I fulfill it and pass basic. I mean, I've been journaling my time here in this book I bought, but I'll tear some of it out till I get some paper. A verse I've been holding on to, a certain verse of Psalm 31:24. Be strong and let your heart take courage while you wait for the Lord. I have so many things to do and pass. I need every prayer I can get. Well, this is out to everyone, so they know, including my church group, friend on Facebook, and everything. And I talked about that. Anyway, but tell them and everyone else, I miss them, love you all, look forward to seeing them. When I get back, I want a Mountain Dew and to eat at Steak and Shake. I'll write me when I can. For some reason, I don't know, I was craving Steak and Shake and stuff there. When you're in basic, you're going to crave stuff. Now, I'm not going to include everything in some letters, like I mentioned, like different people to send some stuff to and everything. So these are, reserved for me. But again. All right, Sunday, September 20th. Hope you got my letter. Please tell everyone to write often. I could really use the encouragement. Just don't send any food stuff. I can't have that. Yeah, if you tell your family to send you food or anything, they're not going to do that. I heard, getting into some adult stuff right here. Don't send things that you're going to mostly get your family in trouble or anything. I heard a story of there was this guy. He was in basic, and he had a family member that was like in the military as well, and he decided to troll his nephew or so. So they send something in the mail that is very inappropriate. And of course, the drill sergeant said, "You can have this." And they open it up, and this box is just full of inappropriate stuff. And they're throwing it all out. And of course, it's embarrassing the soldier, and everyone else is laughing at him because his uncle sent it to him. What it was in question was, I'd say, put it nicely in a way, a self-pleasuring device that females would use. I'll let you fill in the blanks. That was the device that he sent to troll his nephew. Sometimes these things happen militarily. Don't do that to your family and loved ones. At least not like that. Okay. It's night and I'm a bit ashy. We did PT for like 2 hours doing different stuff, so I'm a little sore. I actually got a dude in trouble too. I thought my clothes hadn't washed, so I took them out of the washer and into my locker. Guy came up saying those were his, and he put mine into the dryer, so I gave him his clothes, but as soon as he left, the drill sergeants came to do their inspection, which we knew about. I don't recall this at all. So he was caught in the hallway and had to do push-ups. I had explained it was my fault, but she didn't want to hear it, so right now I'm feeling pretty bad. I don't know if that was Daria or... what was the other one's name? I don't know. I know it's like day 3, but I feel like a failure already. Don't worry, man. It gets worse for you later on. I feel like a failure already by day 3. Oh, trust me. You're going to even believe what I felt later on. You're going to be feeling so many emotions in the military and basic. It's not even funny. I know I get better at everything. I don't need to put so much pressure on myself, yet I do. So pray I stop that. It's going to be a constant theme. Oh, I remember that. I'm just wondering what my life is going to be after this. Will I write books and stuff, old stories, anything other military in this? All right. I asked my brother to tell me how the Braves are doing, of course, and how my cat L'chaim's doing. So, of course, L'chaim's my cat, and my cat, we had him he was about 17 years old. We have him about 13. We think he's mostly about 17, but he died this past April when we buried him and everything. So me saying, tell me how L'chaim's doing, and the Braves are doing. My brother would tell me about the Braves and everything, but that would be when they would, during the COVID thing where they kind of had like that 60 season, 60 game season, kind of weird. The Braves kind of got to the championship but lost to the Dodgers, which the Dodgers would win that year, but it's still kind of a short year because of COVID stuff. But hey, the next year following. I know probably listening to letter reading is not exactly what you would want to do clicking on a video, but at the same time, it's the most direct way you're going to hear stuff from basic. So let's continue forth. September 21st, 2020, so the Monday, day after. Some more intense PT, but I got to push myself to get better. Exciting though. Today we got our weapons today. It's an M4 carbine or M4A1, the weapon I like to use in the PUBG game I play with. I play PUBG Mobile a lot. My favorite weapon is the M4A1. So actually having that in real life, or was M4 carbine, something similar to it, was kind of fun and interesting to use. Now, the one thing I'll say about the weapons is make sure you keep yours on you at all times. Like have the strap wrapped around your arm, even if it's on the ground or something like that, because you don't know if someone's going to try to come by and take it. Especially the drill sergeant who are testing you. Little free chicken there. Because trust me, they take your weapon. We learned to field strip and garrison strip. I don't even know what garrison strip means. Just field strip it and garrison strip all over the place. You're basically taking pen and stuff like that. We're only allowed to go down to 8 pieces. Just take practice to get the pins out and, of course, learn weapon safety and everything. I actually got really good at undoing the weapon and everything like that. I was actually, I think, one of the fastest that can get it undone and put together. Surprisingly, which I don't know how I was, but I was, I think. Drill Sergeant Donahue was speaking today how the Army helps with college, tuition, everything. Perhaps I should take a writing course. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I get into some things here, but about the college thing, I am using the GI Bill right now, actually, to do a business administration type of degree at Georgia Highlands. Decided to do that when I got out simply because didn't know what else to do. I wanted to think about creative writing, but I was looking at stuff online that say do a business degree because you could use that for anything. So that's why I'm doing a business degree as opposed to creative writing. All right. But yeah, doing education and stuff. In the military, it's actually kind of hard to do it because you got so much stuff to balance it. But if you're out and you have the benefits, yeah, use your GI Bill, especially if you got 100% like I did with the, because I stayed in long enough, I got 100% with the GI Bill stuff. I'm asking about people in here, any other military stuff. All right. All right, next day. September 22nd. Today was kind of rough. We kept having to do push-ups because of different things. People moving, talking, being late, look at watches. Plus someone told it was someone's birthday. So for his 20th, we all did a total of 40 push-ups. 2 per count. So we did maybe like 150 push-ups or more. Yeah, don't tell your birthday to the thing, and don't let anyone else know your birthday, because it's not like, all right, 1, 2, 3. No, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, because everything's on a count type thing. So yeah, you're not just doing 1 push-up, you're doing like 2 for every 1 and stuff like that. So yeah, but again, if you're going to be talking, moving around, and causing problems for everything, you're going to cause issues for everybody else. Just do what you're told, stay quiet, only talk when time's nice, and you're good. Oh, I'll talk about this since this thing hasn't brought it up yet. Food stuff. During this time, normally you would go to like DFAC or something like that, the chow hall, to go through, get food, and come out. We didn't get any of that during basic because of the time of COVID. What we had to do is get these things like in reception, hot A's, bring them back. We ate them for breakfast, had to bring them back in a line. We did that for breakfast and dinner. For lunch, we had these things called MREs, like what I explained. And the MREs are like, a lot of people like the snacks. Get M&Ms in them, Reese's Pieces. A lot of people like the snacks in them. Some of them were expired, actually, too. When I looked at the boxes, they said expired. So, gotta eat what they give you, right? All right, back to push-ups. We did 150 more. I couldn't do that much. My arms gave out several times a day. Plus, we had to write 3 different set of drills, 10 times each, so 10 pages I had to rip out for it. I don't remember that for some reason. Good thing today, though, we get more weapon training on how to hold them. Plus, we did our first 1-mile assessment. I did it in 9:37. I ran a mile in 9 minutes and 37 seconds. I was huffing it back then. Goodness. So first time running in weeks, that's not too bad. Normally I get a mile past 10 minutes. I guarantee if I tried doing a mile now, the way my legs have been, though my legs have been recovering, I don't know. I am trying to get back to it. Like, I'm wearing a shirt for the Veterans Memorial that I did in May 2020. I think it was 2020. It's either 2020 or 19. It was 19. I see on the shirt. When I was trying to learn how to run. I need to get back into it. I actually like running. I suck at it, but I actually do like running. 9:37. I gotta beat that time. I'm gonna make that a goal. All right. I have lost a little weight, but we'll see how much I lose. Like 40 pounds or something. We'll see. Be praying my group gets it together. Also, the size of my hip hurts. The points hurt, so prayer that heals. I guess that's something common I have because I have that today. I may lose like 40 pounds or something, I said. To give a hint to something later on, yeah. I started basic at about 188. I ended at 169. My issue with me, though, is that even though I lost the weight, I still look big. Like, I look as big as like I've always have. Yet I lost weight, so it's kind of like, what did I lose? You know, that's where the frustrating thing is. Like, yeah, I lost weight, but I still look big, so I didn't know what to do about that. Still don't, honestly. On my floor tonight, we called a talk group to be better and keep each other accountable. I spoke up as well and read the poem I wrote. This is only day 5, and I did that poem thing. Oh gosh, that's bad. If it was only day 5, and we're doing this poem. Oh man, that was terrible. I'll have to write you a copy of it and everything. We'll continue praying for me and my group. Okay. All right. Moving on. More weapon training today, but I have to work on my left side to get stronger in push-ups and everything, and probably because of that side bridge thing. It's much more comparably, no shooting yet, just drills. Because in yellow and red phase, because the thing with COVID, and red phase, you don't necessarily do any shooting stuff until white phase. White phase, you're just getting, that's where things happen later on. Oh, speaking of the female stuff, like in the beginning, an incident happened last night at the female bay. Our drill sergeant and another female one went in there for something related to checking equipment or so. Well, this one girl was lambasting all the drill sergeants using racial slurs. This is what we were told later on from people talking to the girls later. And they stood there for like 5 minutes listening to it. Needless to say, that one's not in the army anymore. Oh, wow. That, I don't recall her getting kicked out, but I guess so. But I felt bad for my Trojan because it seemed like she's been up for 2 days. I hope she gets some rest. Oh, gosh, yes. Here's, see, during the, because it's, again, military, they're doing a unit. The drill sergeants are not there, and they're just not there as like a individual doing all the stuff they do. No, they're like part of a unit. They're assigned and or volunteer to be drill sergeants and everything like that. So it's actually part of the unit. They have a captain, the first sergeant, they're answering to rank and everything like that. So they're there to, do their work and stuff, but that still means they have to do other things outside. It's not just the regular drill sergeant stuff. They're doing like CQ duty where they're like at a desk for like 24 hours. Oh yeah, you're still doing fire watch this entire time where you're staying up for an hour at a time or everything like that. And again, drill sergeants will check. Unlike in reception though, where you had to be, you could be like in the PT uniform or something. No, in basic, you have to get up, you have to put on the full uniform, your full OCPs and everything like that, and then you have to stay there for an hour. Then afterwards, once you're done, you can change out into your PT uniform to sleep, because if you're caught being in your PT uniform, you are out of uniform when you were doing Firewatch, because you were counted as on duty. So when you're your turn to do Firewatch, just have your uniform ready. And hopefully there's enough of you in the bay, that way you don't have to, do multiple turns a night or anything like that. Because if your bay is small enough and you're only doing it by bay or something like that, yeah, you're going to be pulling it every night and it's not going to be fun. Like the first couple hours, if you're up for Firewatch, not so bad. The worst time, I think, besides the middle hours, I think is like 2 to 3 or 1 to 2, something like that, because you're about to go to sleep and then sometimes you can't get to sleep, but then you have to wake up and do the Firewatch, and it's hard sometimes to get back to sleep afterwards. Or is it like the hour before? One of the hours is the worst to do Firewatch, and you will do at least one of them. Don't think you will. You will probably do Firewatch. I'd say depending on the size of your bay and how many guys you have in your thing and stuff. Twice a week seems likely. Maybe 3 times depending on the thing. If you can get away with once a week, cool. I'd say average would be like twice a week or so, but we'll see. Alrighty, so something to be prayed about is that it's getting colder. People are getting sick. Trouble is, it can set a person back if they think it's COVID. If they get separated for quarantine for 2 weeks, you may have to start over. So praying that I don't get sick or COVID. Don't want to start me over on everyone. We did have one guy. Somehow there was a COVID outbreak. He caught COVID. We all got tested. Shoving that stuff up my nose still makes me cringe to this day. Of course, he had to get separated in quarantine, and of course, he had to start over at a thing. He was a tall guy, too, and he had a big nose, and so his mask didn't really fit and everything. It was just kind of like, ugh. Mask he wore, too. It wasn't really ever thingamajig, but he was the thingamajig. All right, that was that letter. This is still the first week, kind of. First 10 days. All right. Today we got briefed on absentee ballots, so we were able to vote and everything. People asked questions whether we'd be able to leave AIT for Christmas break. She said not sure due to COVID restrictions, but I heard different things. So I do want to come home for Christmas, but just pray and put it in the Lord's hands. Yes, I got to go home for Christmas as a thing in AIT. As far as the absentee ballots, yes, we got to have absentee ballots as an election year. I put on my vote and everything like that. Whether it actually got there is another question. I'm sure the Jerusalem did thing, but questions of the 2020 election are up in the air and blah, blah, blah. Stuff, but just in general, absentee ballots. But if you are in a election year or something, or you have something local, if your family mails you absentee ballots for local elections or anything like that, they do have to send that out and everything like that, because that is actual official mail. So, all right. Also, today was a muscle failure exercise morning. Yeah, because there's I think it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are like the muscle failure days, at least that we had in basic. And Tuesday, Thursdays were like run days. Or it might be the other way around. Like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays were run days, and Tuesday, Thursdays were muscle failure days. One of the two, but you're going to be doing different things alternating all the time. We're trying to improve your running and stuff like that. All right, Army values. I think I mentioned this, but you're going to have to learn this. Here are the Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Of course, integrity is my favorite thing, doing what is right legally or morally. The acronym is LEADERSHIP, LDRSHIP. I know that's not how you spell leadership, but that's how you make the acronym out of it. All right, we've been getting these recovery bars at night. It has a 96% vitamin D and 407% calcium. It's to help with bone strength. You can only have one a day. I don't know why I wrote that factoid down, but okay. But yeah, those bars, those chocolate bars, yeah, were addictive. People, it would literally make the day having those bars at the end. Everyone's like, can we have a bar? People would literally base their day off if they got to have a bar at the end. And when someone didn't get a bar at the end, they were disappointed. Like, yeah, I didn't get to have any bars. I'm angry. And they would make it worse for everybody. They would like, this is, I don't know, but every single time the bars were the thing everyone wanted or something. I had this constant cough Saturday on our first PT day. It was so cold and we were in shorts and short sleeve shirts. So had this ever since then. Okay, it warmed up though. Yeah. I was worried about it getting colder, but it really got hotter for a long while. It didn't get colder until, well, we started doing the exercise and everything. But yeah, you will be doing PT. That is a good reminder. You're going to be doing PT Monday through Saturday. All those days are regular, normal Army days and everything. So you're basically doing stuff 6 days a week. Sundays are kind of like not rest days, or you do have church and everything like that. So it's the most rest you can do during the day. Get all your uniform stuff ready and together. So that is the time to be doing stuff, is on that day. Can't necessarily sleep in your bed though. Don't be caught sleeping in your bed because the drill sergeant's come and check. You're going to be in trouble if you're caught sleeping on Sunday. Even though, yeah, so. But you might be able to get away with it more on Sunday, but not during the weekdays. No, don't be caught sleeping on your bed or even laying in your bed. Don't lay in your bed at all. Get in trouble for that. All right, I write a little note to my Dunkin' and Publix deli crew. Yeah, because I worked there and everything else like that. All right. Okay. This is an important part right here. I'm not going to mention the kid's name because it's because I don't want to reveal the name or anything. Let's just call him. What should I call him? Let's just call him the kid. Let me just call him the kid. A kid in our group named blank, I'm not going to include his name, keeps getting us in trouble with his attitude and constant talking. I'm not sure make it through how much time he gets in trouble. I still have hope and pray he changes around. Better to change him than have him driven out, but almost everyone is tired of him in the platoon, so pray. Yeah. There's this one kid, the kid. Again, a lot of people, they exit right out of high school and join the military, so the maturity level is not there. He had like a uncle that was like a first sergeant from a different unit and stuff. They even brought in and talked to him and everything like that. But yeah, a lot of constant source of trouble, at least in the beginning, stemmed from the kid. Those who were part of my group and everything will know who I'm talking about if I mention his name. I don't feel like I want to mention his name because, I don't want to do that. But those are in my group and everything. They'll know immediately who I'm talking about. It also reminded me, because I caught a small section in another letter, but I didn't want to include it. You're going to be paired with National Guard guys, too. You're not going to be necessarily with, regular Army stuff, because I went in as regular Army. You're going to possibly have reservists, and you're also going to have National Guard go to your same groups as well. So when you meet those people, even though they're going to go completely different type unit stuff, afterwards, you'll be training together, at least in basic. All right, it's Saturday, and I was hoping to see mail, but seemingly they won't give out mail on Saturdays, or there wasn't any mail on Saturday. All right, I'll find out Monday. Tomorrow is the first church service here, because again, Sundays you can have a church service. They have different things available. They have a Catholic service at one time, different things, but you can choose what times it is. I think around 10 a.m. I plan on going to it. We'll see how it is. I'll report what I have to say. My cough has subsided today, so yay. Hopefully I'm more over it. After this hip thing, no more issues. Yeah, hip thing. Still have kind of that, I guess, today, Brandon. Past self. Just letting you know. I want to get through in a clean bill of health. It's been 1 week and I'm ready to get this over with. 1 weekend and I'm ready to get over with basic. Isn't that a constant state of mind? It'll pick up after this quarantine, but either way, I have to do better physically. Now, the reason why I refer to it as quarantine is because that's basically yellow phase. We were still kind of doing stuff until, that time. So, anyway. We wait for the drill sergeant to check us off before we are told to go to bed. The bay across from us are arguing, so we get to sleep and a little. Hang on. Okay. Some of this letter got cut off. I was wondering, there's a lot of conflict today because of smoking earlier in the smoking earlier in behavior of some. Some are getting very angry at each other. We are waiting for the. I don't know what that is. Toe the line. Toe the line. It's basically final inspection. Everyone's there, and you go to sleep. We wait for the drill sergeant to check us before we are told to go to bed. The bay across from us are arguing. So what do we? So we do get to sleep in a little. Wake up as to 6, suppose to 4:30 a.m. I don't remember waking up at 4:30. Gosh. So I'm using this to rest. I want to spend my few hours reading, praying, and thinking on story stuff. Although I know I found I'm out on fire guard again from 2 to 3 a.m. Still time to rest tomorrow. Never mind. I'm off it now. It's confusing, but I know it's dealing with the kid. He's not doing his shift. A direct violation of orders. So back to sleep for me. I think I was getting handled or something like that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is cut off. But September 27th, Sunday. So I guess today is a rest day, but can only read, write, or clean. We're not allowed to sit. Like I was saying earlier, we're not allowed to sit in our bunks during the day. We can only sit on the floor or at the foot of the bed. Sometimes there were chairs around that we could sit in, but that's it. We were told 2 guys in 3rd Platoon who in the sick bay for COVID. We have to get tested tomorrow. I don't believe I have it. Though the cough is cleaned up today, but the Lord's will be done in everything, according to how this is. Why is this so torn up? Alrighty. Alright, my hip is feeling better, but still being sore. Being off it today, I hope for a full recovery, be ready for the rest of the week. I just have to be careful on the stretches. Remember, we could use the track today. So I'll do outside walking. I don't think I was able to. But anyway. Alright, so it's just different stuff along that line. And there's a portion talking about cleaning and everything. I skipped ahead a little bit in the video because a lot of things talking about different dudes there, trying to get to know people and everything. But I spent about 1.5 hours cleaning the bathroom. I did the sinks, windows, sills, seated areas, shower, hooks, blah, blah, blah. It had to be done. I didn't mop yet, maybe later, taking a break right now. So I've just been reading my notes. I read all Matthew today because of the time I had. Just can't go to sleep. Not much I could do. People are talking too much. So you do get these little Bibles and everything like that, which I still have over there somewhere. But you get these little Bibles, and I used that throughout the entire time I was at basic. But you do a lot of cleaning on Sundays. Clean the bathroom, make everything spick-span, clean out the bays and everything like that. Make sure everything's clean. Make sure your laundry's clean. Use those Tide Pods and everything else so you get clean and everything else. So I think that's the end of this letter. Alright, there's one thing in the letter that we have to learn the Army song by tomorrow. I remember looking up on YouTube. It's different, so I'm not used to it. It's the Caissons go rolling, but it's different lyrics. So, yeah, learn the Army song, everything like that. Last letter for this thing. No PT this morning as we took the COVID swab test. I wasn't as uncomfortable as last time. They stick this long cotton swab into both your nostrils. Feels weird and uncomfortable. Makes you want to sneeze a lot afterwards. Yeah. But once they get 100% count on our platoon, then the ones with COVID get moved into a quarantine bay where they stay 2 weeks and can do nothing. No workouts, no phone, just eat and sleep. At the end, and once you're clear, you go back to the beginning of boot camp. There was this group right out graduation. Most tested positive and had to redo everything. Last cycle, supposedly. Oh, that's a story I was told, that there was a group at graduation, tested positive, and had to redo that last cycle or something. So needless to say, I probably never get it. So, yeah. This is during the time of COVID and everything where it sucked. So, I'm saying I think it's pretty cold and we will get snow eventually. Well, fortunately, when I was there, I didn't. Maybe if we stayed longer, we would have. But especially how that AIT went when I was in Missouri. But that's besides the point. All right. Lots of classwork today. Introductions to map reading, how to identify combatants and non-combatants. Of reviewing for a written test next week and the first practice of the ACFT event. Oh, gosh. The third event of that is the one that really counts. Also wear one of the bugle calls today. Also went over bugle calls today. Yeah, the Reveille, retreat, stuff like that. So look at the ACFT, but I don't even know if it matters for anyone today because it's going to be completely different to what I went through. You had like 6 events. You had sit-ups, push-ups. No, it wasn't sit-ups or push-ups. It was how many T push-ups you could do, like in 2 minutes. How many pull-ups you could do, but I couldn't really do pull-ups, so I did the flex arm hang. It was a sprint drag carry, the ball throw, um, the weightlifting, and the 2 mile run. That's what I had during basic at the time. They did switch the thing very, very later on. It was the flex hang or the leg ups, whatever they're called. It wasn't even the flex arm. I forgot what it was even called. They add things. I could never do them, but they changed it to a plank, and I was always able to do the plank. But the sit ups while holding it that way, I forgot what it's called. I was never able to do it though. So, all right. All right. Next week, depending on COVID, let's move into a different building. Also, we start doing obstacle courses, wall climbing, and the Victory Tower. Do I have a story about the Victory Tower? Don't worry. I don't like heights, but I'll give it my best shot. Oh, you will, Brandon. Let me tell you about the Victory Tower. That might be its own video when I get to that. To tell a little of the people here, most are young 20s, some are a little older than me, but only a few. That's normally the older people. Again, I was 28 when I joined, 29 thing. Going back to the culture shock, you're talking about that. A lot of cursing here. Lots of cursing. Even the drill sergeants, almost every sentence. Full Metal Jacket is realistic in that scene. Be praying for them all. It wasn't cursing like a lot of slurs and stuff like that from the drill sergeants, but there was some cursing at times. It's hard to tune it out. Not necessarily my drill sergeants, but hearing some other drill sergeants. Yeah, especially when they were angry at some dudes. There was some things. Also, one thing about the drill sergeants, that they had like a blue circle around their drill sergeant insignia. I think that meant like their infantry. So they've been like their infantry and stuff. And there was a couple that had that. And I forgot their names, but they had something like that. But yeah. All right. It's hard to tune it all out. I think I'm the only one who hasn't cursed at all. Not sure, but I know I haven't. And keeping myself to a standard that I want to hold before the Lord, I just have to keep reminding myself of that word. And that I would do. Got done with afternoon PT and just got done with the heat dump where you step inside a cold shower for 1 minute. I don't recall that at all. And I don't recall afternoon PT. I don't recall either of these things. It's so you don't get overheated on a hot day. And it got a little hot this afternoon. I don't like cold showers, but I dealt with it. I still don't know. I don't recall either of those things. Have I explained MREs? Oh, let's go. That's a meal ready to eat. It's various packages with various things inside. Today I got a beef taco, added some tortilla cheese spread and some other stuff. The beef portion you put into a pouch was the heat pad thing. I never figured out how to use that heat pad thing. Put a little water and it heats up whatever you put in it. It tasted all right. I could never get those things to work, ever. There's a pizza one, which I've never had. And I will say, when I eventually did try the pizza MRE, because I was looking so forward to it, because everyone hyped it up, it tasted horrible. Pizza MRE sucked. I'm sorry. It did not taste good that time I had it. Some come with candy, like M&M's, Skittles, or Twizzlers, which I haven't gotten yet. Although my thing today had trail mix with some knockoff M&Ms, we usually have MREs for lunch. That's pretty much every lunch we had MREs. Getting ready for dinner soon. The guys in my bay want cough drops, so they keep trading with each other. Can get ridiculous at times. Switching fire guard shifts, push-ups, contests, all for a cough drop. Maybe when it's colder, you can send me some, but they don't have to be sugar-free. Oh, but they have to be sugar-free. You have to have sugar-free cough drops. There are certain things, if your family does send you things, they have to follow certain stuff. At the time, at least, cough drops had to be sugar-free. I think that might be still in play, so make sure your cough drops are sugar-free. I guess because, alcohol thing or something? I don't know. All right, I talked about sending me a certain type of deodorant because I was running out, and there were certain brands that I break out with, and I couldn't use any of that stuff. Here's an important thing for knowing how to address drill sergeants. We can't say thank you to the drill sergeants or anything. Instead, we have to say 40 rounds. We get 40 rounds of ammo for our weapon, a qualification at the end. For some reason, it's the thing we say here. They get upset if you try to say thank you. All right, so you use your time to do a lot of stuff and everything is, what was I saying? When you do anything and stuff during basic, you have to use the motto and stuff they say. So to say thank you and everything, so like 40 rounds, Joe Sergeant, 40 rounds this, 40 rounds that is the motto of the unit, whatever it was back in the day from Civil War or something. So 40 rounds became the motto, and that's what you say. I think when I was at AIT, it was Courage and Honor. When I was at Leonard Wood, Korea was like Behind the Rock or something like that. I forgot what it was. But there's different stuff you say and everything. So don't say thank you to the drill sergeant. Say 40 rounds. Now, speaking about laying down thing. So, I can go on for a while. Booker said we're going to wait to get some. I don't know what to. I'm going to write something. Well, that punishment for laying down thing is to write the only time I'm allowed to lay in my bunk is after lights out, 257 times. So I'm going to do that now. So night or often. Okay, I don't recall why it was not written in this thing, but I remember what it was. The event that happened is that I was cleaning something and I was hurting like back wise or hip wise. I was hurting pretty bad at that time. And as soon as I got done, I decided like, okay, I need to lay down. So I laid down in my bed. It was literally like for 1 minute before a drill sergeant from not even our company or anything came in, because they use different people to do stuff. He came in, yelled at all of us who were laying down and stuff, and I had to do a punishment of writing. I would not lay down in my bunk till after lights out 257 times on my paper. Yes, that happened. I felt so bad and everything about it, but I tried to explain. It's like I literally just laid down and everything. Doesn't matter if you lay down for even for 10 seconds. You're not supposed to do that. So that's what I mean. That they will do checks during the day. They will go around the base and everything and check you out and stuff. So yeah. All right. So that was like what the first 10 days of everything of basic just from letters, because I'm trying to remember everything that happened. Basically, learn all the stuff they tell you about terrain features, combatants, and everything like that, and leadership. Do what they tell you as far as like how to set your clothes, make sure you lock everything, do the beds clean, try to be a best battle buddy and not get everyone else in trouble. Do your fire watch shifts and don't be a nuisance. And if your maturity level is not there yet, I'd almost want you to just like spend some time getting mature before you almost go in. But sometimes you need the military to mature you, because if the drill sergeants won't mature you, your battle buddies will, because that could be the whole thing. So that's just like the first 10 days, still yellow red phase. I'm going to keep it in the yellow red phase for a while, because especially when I talk about the victory tower and stuff, oh, we're going to have some fun with that one. That might be its own video. That's probably going to be its own video. I'm serious. It's a thing. We'll see. All right, well, we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.